Such a great phone has now been added to the vintage products list. So if we all, I'm going to play a little song here, and if we all have a moment of silence and we salute the iPhone 6. Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Tech Unlocked podcast, the podcast where we unlock the latest tech news, leaks, and rumors so you don't have to. I am one of your hosts, Benji from Ben08 Tech. I'm joined by one of my co-hosts, Connor from TechWiz Tech, Wearables Show, whatever channel he's on right now. Taylor is not going to be able to join us today, but we do have another guest for you guys. We have Kian from LaserLight Vids. You might have seen him on TikTok. He makes some pretty sick videos over there. And yeah, welcome to the show, Kian.
Thanks. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, we've got a pretty good episode coming up for y'all today. Connor, do you want to give us a little bit of a rundown of what we're discussing?
Sure thing. So we have iPhone 14 news, the usual, demand not being there or whatnot. We have crash detection, some interesting developments in the testing. We have some AirPods Pro 2 news. And of course, we have some Android news, some news about the iPhone 6, and of course, some other news about other companies that we will get to, such as Microsoft and Anchor. Overall, a really stocked episode.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. So I guess I'll kick things off here. So with our first news story, we have more signs of low iPhone 14 demand because apparently the supply chain has been doubling down, I guess, on production for the 14 and increasing production for the 14 Pro because, shocker, the 14 isn't selling well.
Is this a surprise though? I didn't think it was.
Yeah, not really.
Who wants to go to Static Peninsula when you can go to Dynamic Island?
I know, right? Nobody wants Static Peninsula, but
I know.
I guess this is.
I hear they have tribes on the Static Peninsula, and if you go anywhere near the tribes, they'll impale you with Android notches.
Okay then. So let's have a closer look at what this article says. So the 512 gigabyte iPhone 14 is the worst performing model. Oh yeah, and it's also depreciating. This is the biggest part of this. So demand emerges across resale market and supply chain. So the 512 gigabyte iPhone 14 is the worst performing model, depreciating 40.3% during the 10 days after launch. Last year, the 512 gigabyte 13 mini was Apple's fastest depreciating model, losing 29.8% of its value 10 days after launch, followed by the 512 gigabyte iPhone 13, which lost 27.2% of its value. So that's quite a huge...
Yeah, it is.
Quite a huge difference there.
But are we really surprised that well, actually, no. It's the most expensive model almost. You see, that's a surprise because usually the models don't start depreciating until maybe 1 or 2 months in, minimum.
Yeah.
To be honest, it does not surprise me that it hasn't sold well. Like, quite honestly, who would buy it? That's all I've got to
I actually have the limited edition
There's...
iPhone 14. It's just my camera lenses are in a different spot, so it's actually like a mistake in the manufacturing line. They gave me the old notch and they gave me the wrong camera modules. So I'm actually, my model's more valuable because of that.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't even understand why they released it with such like minimal upgrades from the 13. It's kind of pointless.
It's more of a formality thing.
Yeah.
Like every time I hear someone saying, "Oh, I'm gonna buy the iPhone 14," I just tell them, "Go get the 14." No, sorry, the 13. Or if you want the bigger size, get the 13 Pro. They're about the same price. Doesn't make sense. Or get the mini. Yeah. Which this is an iPhone 13 mini, but it could even pass as an iPhone 14 mini because it has the same processor, almost everything's the same except for maybe the camera.
But it doesn't have dynamic island, so it doesn't actually matter. It doesn't count.
Yeah, so it sucks.
It doesn't have dynamic island. Yeah, but something else that doesn't have dynamic island is the 14 Plus. And supposedly that was going to be called the 14 Max, originally, according to Apple's website. Now, what's weird about this is that makes sense.
What, that they named it the Plus or the Max?
That they were going to call it the Plus, and it doesn't make sense that they called it... No, that they called it the Max, but that they called it the Plus. It doesn't make sense that they called it Plus. They got rid of the Plus branding, but left that for services. So Max makes sense.
It's very strange because, I mean, from this news article that we're using, apparently if you download the press images for the iPhone 14 Plus, they're called iPhone 14 Max, which probably goes to show that they changed the naming like last minute. They're like, oh, let's not call it Max, let's call it Plus.
But I remember this is a direct contradiction, because if you remember with the iPhone XS Max, they compared it to an iPhone 8 Plus and said, what is bigger than Plus? Max. So ideally, no, we're not going to do that. Sorry, Phil. Hypocrite. Yeah. What do you think, Keane?
I mean, to be honest, it doesn't really matter what it's called realistically. I don't think it'd sell well either way. Like, obviously, I'm fairly certain it hasn't sold well at all, has it?
I mean, Benji bought one.
No.
Did you actually?
Well, I didn't buy one.
I
Yeah, I've got the 14 Pro. No, but in the last episode, me and Connor were kind of having an argument because I was like, you can already order the 14 Plus. And I was like, no. And so I just went on, ordered it, and then I canceled the order. But
is it not out?
No. You can't get it in your hands today.
You can pre-order it. Or you can't.
Yeah.
Okay.
That makes no sense.
Has anyone pre-ordered it? That's a question I've got, to be honest.
Benji.
Apart from Benji.
I canceled the order, but
I think John Prosser bought it accidentally because he thought he was buying an iPhone 8 Plus, but that's different.
well, he's the one who accidentally bought first gen AirPods Pro without knowing.
Yeah.
So, but we don't care about the 14 anymore. The 14 can belong in the bin and nobody would care. But what we really care about is the iPhone 15 Pro and 15 Pro Max, which is a year away. So apparently the 14 Pro Max has been very popular this year. It's been the most popular, I think. And it could lead to more differentiation between the 15 Pro and 15 Pro Max. So there have been rumors that the 15 Pro Max isn't going to be a 15 Pro Max. It's going to be a iPhone Ultra or iPhone 15 Ultra, whatever. So it's going to have some key differentiating features like the periscope camera. Of course, it'll have USB-C like all the other iPhones that are coming out next year. And I think somebody was saying it won't have physical buttons anymore. Or maybe that's further down the line, but still. They want to change it up a bit. They want to make it different, even more different than so they've just put a big differentiator between the 14 and the 14 Pro, but now they want to split the 14 Pro and the 14 Pro Max, and they're going to price the 15 Ultra, too many iPhone names. The 15 Ultra, they're going to price it higher, of course, and they're going to say this is better.
I swear to.
And then they're going to get sued by Samsung. You what?
I swear to Jobs, if they do this, I will end them.
This is confusing,
Just don't buy an iPhone,
to be honest. If they, I don't know, with them making so many different names and models and stuff, I don't really know if it's the right decision. Obviously, they know what they're doing, but it's gonna get confusing. If I'm confused and I say I know a good amount about this sort of stuff, imagine the normal person. They're gonna be flabbergasted, to be honest.
Exactly. They're gonna be like, what's the difference between the 14 Ultra, the 15 Ultra, and the 15 Pro, and the 15? Yeah, it's they're kind of turning into Samsung that has like sells 100 different phones a year. You find out there's a new Samsung phone every day. You go onto the website and there's like the A90 or the B75 or whatever.
Yeah, it includes a crown guard. That's why it's called the Ultra.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
there's just a
and
digital
it'll be
crown on
really,
the side of your watch.
it'll be super rugged. Like it'll be two times the thickness. It'll be two times the thickness, and it's gonna have a digital crown and the crown guard. It's gonna be like an iPhone 4 on steroids.
So John Prosser's custom concept render.
What? Oh yeah,
Because
the one you put in the thumbnail. Oh my days. Nah, I mean, I think if they did get rid of the physical buttons, I don't know how they would do that, because of course, what happens if if you need to restart your phone or something when it freezes, the buttons will freeze as well. So there has to have some button on it. Or that. Yeah. Tim Cook would be happy.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see how they do it. Yeah, I mean, it'll definitely increase the water resistance. So that's nice. Probably increase the durability as well, because you don't have the buttons that could break. Because the buttons do break sometimes or stop working. I've never had that happen, but... Actually, I did have the home button break once, but that's a different story. In fact, Apple got rid of it.
I love the home button. It lets me do that.
Slide. You don't have a passcode on your phone, Connor. Somebody's going to steal it, and then they're going to steal all of your valuable information on your iPhone 4S.
Do you really think anyone will want this piece of crap?
I don't think so.
I use it because I know no one will want to steal it.
That's a good point. Anyway, let's talk about people destroying their Apple products, or destroying their cars rather.
Yeah, so the Apple crash detection feature is not working well in tests, as shown by YouTubers such as Tegrex and Luke Miani and Sam the Cigarette.
What? Sam the Cigarette? Oh my days.
Yeah, so he's...
And the Wall Street Journal apparently did a test.
I assume it's going to get better over time, I guess, with like AI learning and stuff. So I guess you can't expect it to be perfect at first, but yeah.
Can I just be honest here? These tests are in very limited conditions. So you have a car. They are crashing into another car. But the car isn't traveling for a while, so that the car doesn't actually realize it's actually driving. The phone doesn't realize it's in a car that's driving yet.
That's actually true, yeah.
So usually if you're crashing into someone, you're going to be driving for a while. And you're not just going to be rolling over because someone's going to pull your car from a dead stop with a piece of string. Sorry, Sam, but that's not just how things go. But yeah, no, that just doesn't work. Like, your car's usually going and then it flips and then falls down a river.
Yeah, because also another thing I noticed is a lot of the different videos I've seen of people trying to trigger car crash detection, they're driving and then they hit a car and they keep driving. So how is the Apple Watch or the iPhone supposed to think you're in a car accident if you're still moving?
Because Apple lied, Benji. That's why.
But I mean, with TechCrax's video, he managed to trigger it, I think, twice with his, because the car was going fast and then it crashed very hard and then it stopped. It didn't just crash and then keep driving away. And then they're like, oh no, car crash detection is not going off. It's probably because your phone thinks you're okay. And it probably didn't feel the impact. Because it doesn't just, like, it uses the motion sensors, the microphones, the barometer, the GPS, and it also uses CarPlay and Bluetooth to be a bit more, to be a bit more accurate. So it won't just activate because the microphone hears a crash or because the motion sensors see that the car's flipped over or whatever. Because your phone could have fallen on the ground and then it's like flipping around. So then it's like, oh, car crash. But when it's just the phone that fell.
How many, if the car crash detection goes off because of the speaker hearing a car crash, How many times in a Michael Bay film would you have that trigger?
I don't know. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts, Kian?
I mean, yeah, I just think over time it'll probably get better. I remember seeing a tweet actually of someone that crashed their Tesla and the detection worked. So it clearly is working, but I guess in these tests they're probably not the best environment or that kind of truthful. So I'm sure it does work.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it works under specific circumstances.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest issue is for people, they haven't declared what those circumstances is, like what's the threshold. The biggest problem is people haven't declared that, like Apple hasn't declared that. But why do you want to know? You'll know when you know, like you know when you need to know.
Exactly. Nobody needs car crash detection until they end up in an accident.
Benji, you don't
So
need
hopefully-
car crash detection? I get a car crash every day. That's why I need it.
What?
That's why
Alright.
I'm not recording from my car.
Oh wait,
legal
did you
reasons,
actually
that
break?
was a
Did you
joke.
actually break your car?
No.
Okay, I was like, what?
For legal reasons, that's a joke.
Buys car 2 weeks later, no car
Tesla.
anymore because you crashed it.
Oh, yeah, I bought a
It crashed
Tesla and
itself.
crashed it.
It crashed itself.
Can FSD beta trigger crash detection? I want to know.
I mean, if the car crashes, then
I mean, FSD beta is so unreliable. I'm fairly sure, like, just FSD beta would set it off. Like,
it's like it just sets it off every time it makes a turn by itself. It's like, oh, the driver's not doing this. Must be a car crash.
boom, boom.
But anyway, Apple has apparently stopped signing iOS 16.0 and iOS 16.0.1, so downgrading from 16.0.2 is now no longer possible. So for those who have updated their phones recently, you can't downgrade anymore if it doesn't work. If it doesn't work, you'll have to wait till iOS 16.1 or reset your phone.
Screw that. I'll
Yeah.
stick with my buggy
So-
iMessages.
so for those who- For those 2 people in the world that still wanted to jailbreak on iOS 16, you now can't downgrade to 16.0.
Everything
So,
Apple Pro.
yeah. So you're gonna have to. So if you just bought your iPhone 14 Pro, you'll have to survive on iOS 16.0 for a while, and your camera will have to shake and do all sorts of stuff.
Stage Manager came to the older iPad Pros, and I think we're all on the same page there, that we're more annoyed than grateful for it.
Why?
Because it should have been there from the start.
Oh right, yeah, because it's good. I have it on my iPad Pro, and it's actually like when they announced Stage Manager, I was like, oh, I'll probably upgrade my iPad the next iPad that comes out. But then they've now brought it to the older iPads, and I'm like, oh, there's no need to upgrade now, and it works.
I'm using it on my Mac, and even just for like this podcast, flicking through my notes and this, all I have to do is click one thing, and it just switches automatically. Like, it's so simple.
So are you
Yeah.
saying it's good? Because I remember when I saw it like announced and everything, I kind of stopped watching. I didn't actually think it's like that impressive. But if you're saying that it's good, I might have to give it a go.
I was like that, and it changed everything.
Personally, I think on the Mac, I mean, I have to try it on the Mac to, of course, have an opinion. But from what I can see, it doesn't really add anything to the Mac, because I can already open like 100 windows on the same thing, and it's fine. But on the
For me,
iPad, on
it's
the other
all
hand,
multitasking.
it's changed the way I'm using my iPad now. It makes me want to use my iPad more, because I can have multiple windows open at the same time. I can have like a game playing and then be watching TikTok or something, and like switch between the two. And I honestly, I think on the iPad it makes sense, and I like it. Yes, it is limited. Like, you can't move the windows wherever you want on the thing, but you can resize them, do all sorts of stuff. I
you're saying
like
is
it on the
you want a
iPad. I think it's
MacBook?
good.
Yeah, I might have to give it a go.
It's good. I'm thinking of making the jump to Ventura just for continuity
Do it.
camera.
I did it just for continuity camera. It's so good.
But then if my computer stops working, then my work stops working.
Oh yeah, by the way, you'll know if this episode doesn't come out because Ventura.
Oh no. Which means I'll have to edit another episode again. Thank you.
No, you won't have to.
But yeah, Stage Manager, cool. On iPads, older iPads now. So there's no reason you need to upgrade your iPad. If you have an iPad Pro, like the first gen with the bezel-less Face ID thing, or the second gen. There's also another thing you don't need to upgrade anymore. So AirPods, right? Well, everybody saw the AirPods 2 that have this new adaptive transparency mode, which looks pretty cool. I don't really care for it, but oh well. But now, on iOS 16.1 beta, the original AirPods Pro get the same feature. So that's one less reason to buy the AirPods Pro 2.
Yeah, I think Apple has done themselves in then, because I was gonna buy the new AirPods, but now I see this like features coming to the ones I've got in right now. I'm not even sure if I'm going to anymore. So I guess it is good, but I guess these the original. I literally got these when they first came out, like ages or like 2-3 years ago.
They're so
longer than that.
How's the battery life on them now?
I actually had to get them replaced because you might have heard of the issue where it starts like kind of making that buzzing noise. I had to get them replaced recently. I went to Apple and they said it's the worst I've ever seen. Like it was awful. So yeah, I got it replaced.
Wow.
And now they're like new, basically.
Did they replace the
Sweet.
case as well?
No,
because
literally
every
just
single
the AirPods.
Yeah.
Same thing happened to me. I had the same issue, and I was still in warranty, so I was like, okay, I'll just get it replaced. So I got them replaced back in April. So now I basically have a fresh pair of AirPods Pro. And the only like real reasons for me to want to upgrade is for the volume controls and maybe the slightly better noise cancellation. But I mean, noise cancellation is fine so far. I mean, I have to try them to see, but the touch controls and also the new Find My case. And of course MagSafe. MagSafe would be nice because my case doesn't have MagSafe.
Lanyard, attaching a lanyard to your AirPods so you can wear them like a little wristband.
Yeah,
I don't care. So you can swing them around and lose them.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I wouldn't even use any of that stuff. And I'm not even like that person that loses their AirPods constantly either. So I'd rarely have to use the Find My. But obviously, it is a good feature to have. Like, I know people that lose them every day, man. But
yeah, but like, they're either in your car, on your desk, in your bag, or in your pocket.
That's what I'm saying. But some people clearly don't do that.
Yeah, but
I mean, sometimes
it's so easy.
Sometimes I'm using my AirPods and I put my case somewhere and then I walk away or whatever and then I can't remember where the case is. And I mean, to find the individual AirPods, it's easy. Yeah, but what if I don't want to put it in my pockets? What if I don't want to put it in my pockets?
Your desk exists, Benji.
What if I'm outside? Wait, no, actually, if I were out, I'd have it in my pocket.
Benji, you don't go outside.
I go out more than you think. But no, yeah, I mean, it's useful for some people. I think it is cool to have the extra layer of security, I guess, where if you lose your case, you can still find them. But you have to hope that your AirPods update though, because they don't always update.
Do any of you have the new AirPods?
No.
So we don't know anything about the adaptive transparency, like whether it's actually good or not. Have you heard any like reviews?
No. I've got 16. I have 16.1.
Okay.
But my AirPods haven't not updated yet.
Okay.
So
AirPods just don't update, in my experience. You just get
and I rarely.
It's how it is.
To be honest, I rarely use transparency mode anyway. Like most of the time, I'm using noise cancelling.
For cancellation.
I'm actually the opposite. I've only recently started using noise cancellation, like when I go to the gym and stuff. Where if I'm like around the house, anything else, I normally have transparency mode on, which I think is quite unusual. I thought it was normal, but all my mates use noise cancellation most of the time as well.
Considering this is permanent transparency mode, I think I'm good. For AirPods Pro being noise cancellation.
Yeah, but honestly, I want to try the new AirPods Pro. I'll probably upgrade in the future, but I think probably the next Apple headphones I'll get are going to be AirPods Max, because I found like here in the UK you can get them used for like 300 quid. So do I spend 250 on AirPods Pro that I already have, or do I spend 300 on AirPods Max? So it's kind of
AirPods
a no-brainer.
Max,
but
AirPods Max, AirPods Max, AirPods Max, AirPods Max, AirPods Max, AirPods Max.
Shut up! You don't even have your own.
No. I use them quite regularly, and
yeah, but you don't have your own pair.
Amazing. Shut up! I have an opinion.
I want to try them. I think the best feature is the fact that it still has lightning. That's probably the worst. Or the bikini case thing.
I was just gonna ask about the AirPods Max actually. Like, have any of you used them? Because I haven't.
Yep.
I've used them in the Apple Store.
Are they actually like good?
So I used
They
them
sound
briefly.
good?
I use them.
The
for
noise
glass, they're
cancellation is
amazing.
insane.
Really?
The noise
Like,
cancellation is
they're-
insane.
XM5s on steroids. That's
Yeah,
how I
might
describe
have
them.
to invest maybe. I guess I'm in the same situation as you. As
Do not buy them brand new.
yeah, either
Do
get
not buy them brand
AirPods
new.
Max or the new Pros. It's kind of so they've both got their pros. And
Yeah, it's
The
like
pros are more
it's,
battery is a big thing with the AirPods Max. If you're really critical on battery and you want like the best battery possible, get the Max. If you want portability and just all around better usability, get the Pros.
yeah,
That's the way
Yeah.
I see
it's a
it.
difficult one.
Because I'm looking to get a new pair of over-ear headphones. Because these ones, I've got the Anker Soundcore 2, whatever they're called. They're good, but for some reason they randomly crash while I'm editing videos, and like the whole computer freezes and these things restart.
That's strange.
It's the weirdest thing ever. I've never experienced it ever
Your
on any
headphones
headphones. I didn't even
crash?
know it was possible.
What?
They're like it just freezes. The computer freezes as well because it's like, oh, I can't find Bluetooth, and then they just restart. And then I'm like, what? Never happens with my AirPods, so it's not a problem with the computer, and it's happened on my other MacBook as well before this one. So it's the weirdest thing. I probably should get them replaced, but
Well, you know, if you get the Liberty Soundcore 4s from Anker as an upgrade, you can get heart rate detection, which was rumored on the AirPods but never came.
those are earbuds.
Yeah, but like now they've stepped up their game and they have it over Apple, which is pretty cool. But who wants to get checked? Can you even check your heart rate through your ears? What?
I
guess.
According to Anchor, you can.
I don't know why people want this to come to the Apple to the AirPods because the Apple Watch already has it.
Yeah. It's
So to me, it doesn't make
yeah,
sense.
It's a bit of a novelty
Suspicious.
feature, isn't it? Like, it's kind of useless. I guess
I'd rather have better sound quality.
Yeah.
Would you like to have your like? This is a case of they're doing too much. Like your headphones are going to tell you you're having a heart attack. Do you really want that?
Point a bit too. It's just kind of adding a feature for the sake of it, in my opinion. Anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, they're cheaper than AirPods.
Really, how much are they?
$150 apparently, which is almost £150 because the pound is dying. But that's besides the point. Yeah, Anker Soundcore Liberty 4 earbuds cost $150 and come in either black or white. Okay, so they come in black, so that's
Actually,
I'll give them
I have
that.
a pushback about that. 150. You can get AirPods Pro brand new for 150 if you look on Amazon.
They're 180. Well, at least here in the UK, they're 180.
Yeah, but
Which
I
is
can
still-
get AirPods
yeah.
Pro here for 150. So like, I'd choose AirPods Pro any day of the week.
Yeah, who cares about the heart rate sensor?
I don't want to be told I'm having a heart attack on 4 different devices, only one.
Your Apple Watch is like-
Most Soundcore like speakers or headphones, they are good though. To be fair to them, I've tried out one of their speakers, their headphones, and I've always been impressed, especially for the price as well. They definitely are
They're
good.
good.
Yeah, these are
for what they
Soundcore.
offer.
Yeah, I think I might
They're
have
good.
the same ones.
Apart from
actually.
the fact they crash.
Yeah, apart from the
Their
crash.
glasses are
I mean,
good.
mine have always worked fine, and I was honestly impressed, especially for the price. They are quite.
Have any of you tried the glasses? Soundcore
No.
glasses.
No.
They're very good.
But you returned them.
They weren't,
No,
they weren't
that's
quite
these
good
ones.
enough.
Oh, right. So you have them.
Which I'm also returning.
Oh, okay.
Because €300 is a bit much.
Bit steep.
Might as well buy
Money
AirPods
bags.
Max for that.
Hey, you stole my idea.
Right. Okay. So now we have some sad news for everybody. So y'all remember the iPhone 6, right?
My first iPhone.
Same actually.
I had an iPhone 6 Plus, which I gave to my sister and got ran over by a tractor. But that's besides the point. Don't ask me. Don't ask. The phone that everybody was going on about, Bendgate. I think it was the first official gate that people were talking about. Such a great phone has now been added to the vintage products list. So if we all, I'm gonna play a little song here, and if we all have a moment of silence and we salute the iPhone 6. Okay, yeah, iPhone 6 is dead. It's been added to the vintage product list. My days. Yeah, so it was the first iPhone that went against Steve Jobs' philosophy of small phones are better.
I know, right? Small phones are much better. That's why I use
it was the first one that supported Apple Pay, and it was the first iPhone, I think, that was paired with the Apple Watch.
Yeah. That's your
and yeah, so that's it. iPhone 6 is in vintage product list. Rest in peace. You can still buy one and still use one, of course, but Apple will not. Will say it's a vintage product.
I mean, to be fair, it's still used by like a ton of people. Like I see them everywhere still.
My ex had one. I have no idea how she survived with it.
Yeah, surely all of them are.
Well, that's why
slow
she's your
by
ex,
now.
because she used an iPhone 6.
What?
Her battery died her battery died so much she couldn't text you, and that's why she's your ex.
Yeah, probably actually. Yeah. Nah.
I can make these jokes.
Yeah. So yeah, there you go. iPhone 6 is dead. Rest in peace. Unbox Therapy will be sad because that's basically the reason he is who he is today.
Very much.
Cool. Moving on. Moving on to the future.
Woo! And in the future, Tim Cook says that not too long from now, you'll wonder how you led your life without AR, augmented reality. So what this means is everyone will be able to watch cute TikToks through their glasses. From
Yes, you'll be able to watch Addison Rae and Madison, whatever her name is, dancing in AR. No, you don't want that.
I just don't see it happening.
No, you'll be able to watch Kian's videos in AR.
If you want to watch my TikToks, then that's fine. But honestly, I just don't really see it happening until it gets to a point where it is just like really good. And I just don't think we're quite at that stage yet.
Can I be honest?
Go for it.
Okay, the glasses are going to talk to me now. But this is how slim they can get the frames with just speakers, microphones, and cameras. Just speakers,
doesn't have a screen,
microphones,
though.
and
No,
cameras. No, but this is how slim they were able to get it. Do you think that they'd be able to get this slim if they added a screen to them?
I think it will
Like,
happen eventually,
legitimately.
but I still just don't really
But for now,
believe
it's
in
not
it.
possible.
Yeah, I don't see it happening anytime soon. And even when it does happen, I'm not even sure if it will be as big as
Like,
people
this is
are
cool.
saying. Yeah, it's cool, obviously. And
Yeah.
if I get an opportunity, I'll
But,
try
like,
it out.
it's not.
But I don't really see it being the future, which a lot of people are saying otherwise. But that's what I think.
Get them this slim, they're not going to work. They're not going to be
And also
publicly used.
And also the price.
That's
Because apparently the first headset that Apple's going to release is going to be like $3,000, and nobody's going to pay $3,000. At least the average person.
These are $329 without the augmented reality tech.
yeah. It's
So
gonna
think
be
about how
very
much it would
expensive
add
first.
for the augmented reality tech in this form factor. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's going to be.
He's
intense.
also saying that like he's not sure the average person can tell you what the metaverse is. Don't know why he
It's
said
the
that,
Facebook land.
but Facebook land where they've got very, very bad character animations.
Disney
look
World
creepy.
got blown away in Storm Ian, so now we have Facebook land.
So this is what Tim Cook said. He said, "I think AR is a profound technology that will affect everything. Like I said, we are going to look back and think about how we once lived without AR. I mean, I guess that's kind of what's happened to smartphones, really. Because I mean, if you look back, how can you live your life without a smartphone nowadays? I mean Connor's
honestly,
halfway
doing it.
through that. Except you still
Yeah.
have your MacBook, you still have the other iPhone and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But
All my social media is on this now, actually. The 12 is literally just a camera.
oh, sweet. He also said that it's something you can really immerse yourself in and that can be used in a good way, but I don't think you want to live your whole life that way. VR is for set periods, but not a way to communicate well. Oh, this is about VR, sorry. So I'm like, not against it, but that's how I look at it. So he doesn't really believe in VR more. It's more of AR.
Doesn't this kind of debunk all the rumors of a VR headset because Tim Cook is so against it? This kind of debunks the idea that Apple would want to, or that he would sign off on a VR headset.
Actually, I thought I'm reading. I think he's talking more about the metaverse, kind of like the way that the metaverse is working.
Yeah.
But what Tim Cook wants to do, he wants to kind of merge the two into one world.
Do you mean the Ultraverse?
The Ultraverse. Yeah, maybe. I don't know what they're gonna call it. The Maxiverse. The Apple Land. No, but honestly, I mean VR is cool. Like, the metaverse is cool, but I think it's better if they just merge the two together. Like, you're wearing AR glasses and then you just got a TV screen on your wall without having a TV. You've got external monitors for your computer without having external monitors, that kind of stuff. And of course it'll take time. Like, it took a bit of time for smartphones to start to actually become a thing and be good enough to be able to do all of these things. And I think AR is going to kind of be the same thing. So probably not now, but maybe in 15 years time, we're going to look back and say, how did we live without AR? Because I mean, 15 years ago, the iPhone, I don't think the iPhone existed 15 years ago, did it?
No, it didn't. I'll put this out there. I will buy the first iteration of Apple Glass that is the same form factor as this.
And then you'll return them.
No, because I know that Apple will get it would have to have all the AR tech and that kind of thing, but like the first pair of AR glasses that you can buy that have this form factor, I'll buy them.
How long do you think that will take? Like, how many years? I don't think it's happening.
Well, I'm guessing 10 years. That's why I'm comfortable saying it, because like I'll have the money then.
You'll be a millionaire. You'll be living on Dynamic Island.
Oh yeah. Waving over a static peninsula. So yeah, that's fun.
Speaking of Dynamic Island, let's take a trip there, shall we? So, Dynamic Island, you remember last week, guys, that we talked about the Android copying Dynamic Island. Well, apparently that app has over 1 million installs.
What's the odds that that's like all like 10-year-old broke high school kids that can't afford an iPhone, so they just want to look like they had the new iPhone?
Or it's Android fanboys who wish they had an iPhone, but they don't want to buy an iPhone because they're like, oh, iOS sucks. But they think Dynamic Island's cool. I think it works better on Android because it's also used for notifications. Because like I honestly, Dynamic Island on the iPhone is overrated, to say the least. Like, I've had the 14 Pro for, well, since it's launched, so like 2-3 weeks. And like, it's cool when it does things, but a lot of the time it's not doing anything. Like with notifications just show up like they would normally. And there's also a lot of other issues. I've been called an Apple hater because I'm not a big fan of the Dynamic Island. I think it has potential though. I think it could be really, really nice if it worked with things like notifications and it did more than what it does currently. But in its current state, that Dynamic Island is a bit... I mean, it's cool for the first day or two. You're like, oh, when I listen to music, it goes up into the thing. It's so cool. But then you kind of get over it, and you're like, okay, yeah. And then it starts becoming more annoying than a good thing.
Does it get in the way when you're like watching videos? Because that's the one complaint I've seen. Yeah.
So when you're watching
significantly,
when you're watching YouTube videos that are 2x1. Like on my 13 mini, the notch cut in a little bit, but then the cutout cuts in, like half of the cutout is basically on the video. Like, of course, it's like on the corners of the screen, that on the sides of the screen, you're not going to really see any important content, but still, it's annoying that it's there, that it cuts into the content. And of course, it could be fixed with like an update. YouTube could update their app or whatever. But as of right now, it's a bit... Could be better.
I don't really see it
Absolutely,
changing,
it could be.
to be honest, though, for the next few years. I think they'll stick with a dynamic island design, won't they? So, gonna have to get used to it.
I think it'll get better as well over time. Like, already iOS 16.1 is bringing live activities to it. So you'll have that in your dynamic island when you're like watching, or like when you're following a football match or whatever, you're going to see it up there.
Of course.
But of course, what?
Why not? Why not have more to do with Dynamic Island? I think WWDC will see a lot of changes towards it.
Yeah, next version of iOS. Because also, as of right now, there's only 2 phones that Apple currently sells that has Dynamic Island. And of course, yes, they're becoming the best-selling iPhones of the year. But I think it'll take time. And also, developers are going to... This is a new thing for developers as well that they need to work with and do cool things with. So I think give it a couple months and Dynamic Islands are going to be a lot better than...
Absolutely.
I'm hoping iOS 16.2 makes the notifications kind of take up Dynamic Island, because as of right now, there's only a few apps that do that. Like I think Siri Shortcuts uses Dynamic Island instead of giving you a full notification. When you receive a phone call as well, that's really cool. So unless you're looking at it in direct sunlight, it's cool.
Yeah, I mean,
Because if you're looking at it
looks terrible.
direct sunlight,
Does it actually look awful?
Yeah.
Is it as bad as like people are saying it is in the photos and all that?
Yeah.
I mean, you get used to it.
Yeah.
You get used to it. I haven't been outside in direct sunlight that much recently, mainly because we barely get sun here in the UK, and I'm sure you don't either, Connor, over there in Ireland. So
No.
even the 2000 nits of brightness on the 14 Pro is hard to test when it's not very bright outside.
When I was even when I was in the store looking at it, like, it was very obvious. It was very
The
obvious.
cutout or the screen.
The cutout, like the cutout,
Yeah.
like on the screen, it was very obvious under shop lighting. Like,
Because Apple stores are very bright, but yeah, I guess I don't know. They can't really do anything about it really, apart from make the screen brighter, which I guess will.
Yeah.
probably
that's
be in the
a
next
big
round.
ask.
But it already is quite bright, isn't it? So.
I mean,
Yeah,
OLED, right?
I think a lot of people are just blowing it out of proportion, though. So I think you get used to it. Like, you see it in the sunlight, and you're like, "Oh, okay, this is what my phone looks like now." But yeah, but apparently I'm an Apple hater because I don't like that. So
Yeah, no, you're not allowed to talk about Apple now.
the joys of TikTok commenters.
Tell me.
Anyway,
about it.
let's jump out of the walled garden for a bit here, Connor, and you can
Of course.
introduce the next thing.
Google.
Google is yet again shutting down something, so that's exciting.
Yeah, Google's shutting down Stadia, and I got an email about it because I apparently signed up for a trial a few years back and getting like a tenner in rebirth, in like being reimbursed €10, which is nice. But yeah, people who bought games on Stadia are being reimbursed because it's cheaper to reimburse people than to actually run the service. Yeah, like they cancelled it as soon as they designed it. Like, I was surprised.
Yeah, I mean, I think Stadia was a good concept, but I think there's a lot of bigger players out there that are now basically doing the same thing with cloud gaming. You got like Xbox has cloud gaming. I don't know about PlayStation, but yeah, a lot of these companies are moving to that. And when somebody creates a video game, they're not going to go to Google and be like, "Oh, we want to put it on Stadia," and like optimize it for that, because there's only like 5 people in the world who use Google Stadia. So
Yeah,
it makes sense.
It's actually worse than Apple Arcade in uptake. Can you believe that?
Apple Arcade isn't even like with AAA games or anything. It's just mobile games.
Yeah, that's brutal.
Yeah, when I saw that it was shutting down, it didn't really surprise me. I read it on Twitter. I'm like, oh, there's another one that Google shut down and carried on scrolling. But yeah,
they're just. I mean, it's expected. Google always scraps projects. They scrap apps. They scrap everything. They're just.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
We should definitely cancel Google for this. Like, just.
Google can do what they want.
Google,
really.
we hate you.
They can.
Taylor's not here, so we can talk all sorts of rubbish on Google.
We can fanboy over Google all we like because he's not here.
But anyway,
Yeah.
There's another company that likes to cancel stuff as well. Microsoft. Yeah, so they're killing off Swiftkey. So for those who remember back in the day when I remember back in the day, Swiftkey was like the first third-party keyboard that I ever used on an iPhone. That was back in, I think it was iOS 9 or iOS 8. iOS 8, yeah.
iOS 8.
I remember I think I either got the beta or I got the full release, and then I remember just downloading Swiftkey, which was one of the only ones that had like the swipe keyboard, which I really, really like. Even still to this day is pretty good. But now they're killing it. So it's being delisted from the App Store on October 5th. I guess it makes sense because a lot of the exclusive features that you had with Swiftkey you now have on the stock keyboard, and
That checks out.
most people use the stock keyboard and they don't even know they can use a third-party keyboard. And of course you still have Gboard and stuff like that, which is probably more popular. I mean, I think Swiftkey was good, and then Microsoft bought it and it kind of went downhill from there.
Yeah,
Kinda like
it's
Skype.
Kind of trash. Oh yeah, Skype exists.
Yeah, I'm surprised it still exists. Who uses Skype?
Marquez
I don't at least. Wait, why does Marquez use Skype?
for podcasts.
Oh, right. Okay. Well,
I just know that.
if you use, I'd use FaceTime or
Yeah.
Discord, higher quality. But yeah,
Yeah,
rest in
that's
peace,
great.
Swiftkey. We're not gonna have a moment of silence for Swiftkey because
No,
Microsoft.
No one gives a damn.
No.
I didn't
That's
realise
off
it was
key.
a thing, to be honest. I've never heard of it.
Exactly. See, so it doesn't
was
matter
no
now.
surprise that it shut him down.
Yeah. A lot of people know what Gboard is, but
Yeah,
they don't know
I've
what.
heard of that. I've never used it though.
Yeah.
I always just used the Apple one.
Yeah, don't try it on iPhone. It's terrible. The autocorrect on Gboard is absolutely shocking. I hate it.
Couldn't be that worse. Couldn't be that bad, could it?
I don't know. But anyway, let's move on. Connor.
Yeah, and we're going to move on to the alleged Pixel Watch pricing, starting at $349 for the Wi-Fi and cellular model, all the way up to $399 for the cellular model. The first one is actually just Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. That makes sense. Yeah, but
And European prices, by the way.
very competitive pricing, I must say.
Yeah, I mean,
I think the price
Go
is
ahead.
good. It's just who's buying a Pixel Watch. That's I don't know.
it's no. Marcus is
Taylor.
probably gonna buy it, and he's probably just gonna get Taylor. He's probably just gonna use it for like his review, and then he's gonna go back to the Apple Watch because the design of the
Yeah.
Pixel thing isn't great.
Yeah.
It looks
'Cause,
like
I mean,
it
if
looks
you-
like a police drawing of an Apple Watch, like a police sketch.
Actually, I think they could make it as cheap as possible, and still it wouldn't sell as well as an Apple Watch realistically, no matter how cheap it was.
Yeah, I know. And I mean, the Apple Watch, you've got the SE that starts at $259 here in the UK, which is almost £100 less, and you probably get more features. You get a bigger screen or a bigger looking screen, or you can spend $419, which is a little bit more than that. Of course, it's almost £100 more, but you get the Series 8, or you could just go buy a used Series 7 or Series 6, which are still great. So, I mean, especially if the Pixel Watch is exclusive to Pixels or even Android, it's not going to sell.
Nah.
Like, people are still going to take either an Apple Watch or a Samsung Watch any day of the week. I mean, that's what I would do anyway.
Oh yeah, Samsung watches. They look the same and they're better. Kind of happy to see them going for the Fitbit branding though. That would be interesting. Maybe.
Well, I mean, they own Fitbit, so yeah, it'd probably be. It'll probably have like all the Fitbit stuff integrated in.
So they're going to steal
But-
all your data and make you feel bad about your health as well in the process. Great.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah. So it's either people will either get if they're on an iPhone, they'll get an Apple Watch. If they're on something else like Samsung, they're gonna get a Samsung Watch. And speaking of Samsung, we have some amazing news to wrap up today's episode. Samsung phones are exploding. Again.
What's
Well,
new?
not exactly exploding. But what's new? So basically, a bunch of people, starting with Mr. Who's the Boss, he discovered that several of his Samsung phones had their batteries bloated. And then other creators such as MKBHD, Jerry Rig Everything, also reported similar problems with their old Samsung devices. And even I did. I used to have an S10 Plus up until like 6 months ago.
Tracer.
And around this time last year, I actually tweeted, and Connor, I'll send you a screenshot of which you could put over here for the video listeners, video watchers. There's actually, my S10 Plus had the same problem. The battery was expanding and the back glass was coming off. And I didn't really think of much of it because it wasn't really that big of an issue. I kind of like just stuck the thing back together and it was fine. It didn't expand by that much. But the fact that this is happening is not great. Now, of course, this is only happening with Samsung phones that have been kind of like in a drawer for a while and haven't been used much recently.
I know someone that this happened to, and they had to get the charging port replaced as well as the battery.
Oh.
Yeah, because of it. It's not fun.
So it's not safe. Samsung batteries are still not safe to this day. And it's even happening on like the Z Fold 2 and the S20 FE.
You want to know why it's happening on the Fold 2? Because people stick it in a drawer and never use it again after they unbox it first. That's just how it works.
Yeah, I guess it's good that
Yeah.
it's happening on like phones that people are constantly using. So I guess it's not really like a hazard or anything. But I guess it's not really good for Samsung if their phones die.
No.
No. And it's not, the thing is, it's not what was I going to say? They're not exploding. So it's not a Note 7 problem. It's more like the batteries are just expanding. Yet. They're just expanding and that's about it. So
I mean, that happened to I had no microphone and the batteries expand. These were like coin-sized batteries, but they expanded.
It happened to like loads of the first Apple Watches as well. I remember that happening quite a lot.
Oh yeah,
So
it happened to my Series 2 as well.
They were just blowing up on people's wrists because you know Apple decided these are old. We want you to get a new one. Activate the destructive one.
Activate self-destruct. Poop! Oh no, the screen's popped off.
You can either pay €500 for a new screen or get a new Apple Watch for $400.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I mean, this also does happen with like other phones. Like this happens to iPhones. It happens to pretty much. But the fact that it's happening like it's like to this scale, and with phones that are actually quite recent, like the Galaxy Note 8, the S10 Plus, the S10 5G, the S10 Plus, these kind of phones, even the Galaxy Z Fold 2. Like it's happening to all these phones, which isn't great. And
I was kind of looking into buying a Fold 2 a couple of months back. Not looking into that now.
Don't buy it. Yeah.
Information.
I mean, if you buy it, you'll have to use it every day.
True, but then I also have the battery expanding on me, and I don't want that. I like having a house.
A house that doesn't smell or looks like it's been burnt down. Yeah. Anyway, that's about it, I guess, for this episode. Do you guys have anything else you wanna bring up or talk about before we wrap up here?
Have you any questions for us?
No, I think it's everything. Make sure you follow me on TikTok.
Oh yes.
If I can, I'll show it on screen here.
This is at LaserLight Vids.
Yeah.
There you go.
Make some great videos, some great sponsored stuff as well. All right. Well, thank you, Kian, for being on today's episode. We really enjoyed having you on, hearing your thoughts on what we had to discuss. If you guys want to go follow him or any of us, of course, the links will be in the description or the show notes, wherever you are watching or listening to this episode. But for now, thanks so much for tuning in. Yeah, exactly. We need to be monetized, please. I lost my trail of thought. But yeah, this was episode 47 of the Tech Unlocked podcast. We'll catch you guys next week.